million. 2,650,000. When I say those numbers, does anything come to mind? What I'm talking about is how many children or people are diagnosed with autism throughout the world. Those are several countries that I've named. I've named China, India, and the UK. And the US alone has 1.5 million. The term autism is a neurobiological disorder. And it knows no boundaries, no cultural boundaries, it knows no color, it knows no religion, and it doesn't matter if you're a boy or a girl, a man or a woman, you're susceptible to it. Unlike sickle cell anemia, which is known to happen in African Americans, or Tay-Sachs in the Jewish culture. In a chart that I found on Autism Society, in 2007 it was estimated that China has 1.1 million, India has 2 million, the US has 1.5 million, the UK has a little over 500,000, and Mexico has 150,000. That is in 2007. In 2009, the numbers have, just in 2 years, the numbers have risen. The U.S. has 1 in 110 children, and 1 out of 70 boys will be diagnosed with it. I guess that is kind of an exception when they say that it affects everyone, is boys do have a tendency to be diagnosed with it more than girls, but girls are still susceptible to it. And usually when they are diagnosed with autism, they usually have a more severe case of it. And I mean, the numbers are rising in every country. I mean, if the U.S. has already risen from 1 in 66 to 1 in 110, just think of the other countries that have just a little under 2 million. You know, they're probably skyrocketed just like the Americas in the U.S. On autismspeaks.org, they have several places in the U.S. listed as treatment centers, and in the treatment centers, what they do is they diagnose the child or person with autism, and then they do the means of different types of treatments. And treating autism, it's an intensive thing. You know, there's not one set thing that's going to be able to fix it. My son has autism, and I've gone through extensive therapies, such as a program called Focus Learning, and it works with play attention. It teaches his mind to focus better. Other people change their children's diets to help. They make it a gluten-free diet, and that seems to help with the behavior of autism. It brings the child more out of their shell when they have treatments like that. Or some of the children or people with autism are so severe that they have to have daily therapies in order just to get them to stay in, I guess for lack of better words, our world, because they tend to drift off into their own little world. In Mexico, the resources there are very slim, and there's a lady named Chantel Cicely Kyram who moved down there 14 years ago, and in Autism Hope called Autism Hope South of the Border, she writes an article about how her son was diagnosed with autism while she was in Mexico, and instead of choosing to go back to the U.S. to get treatment for him, which was better than staying in Mexico, she chose to create an avenue of resources to help her child plus other children and families who are affected with autism. it is a hard thing to deal with. Children or people with autism in other cultures might not have as many resources. Nowadays, it is becoming easier to find resources, but majority of the resources are like in the US or Canada, and like in your guide to autism, I don't even know how to say this. Affects all worlds, all cultures. You can probably go anywhere in the world and find a person with autism, severe or on the higher end of the spectrum. But different cultures treat it differently. Some of them just don't have the resources or the means to travel to America or Canada to get the resources, so their child goes untreated, and they don't learn how to deal with it. They push their kid to the side, or in America, we have almost unlimited resources. There are more resources in some places, in some states, than there are in other states. Like if you go to California, you're going to find more resources in California than you will even here in Oklahoma. There are specific places in Canada, but still not as many as in the US. Autism is the only dramatically rising disorder. Mental disorders, cystic fibrosis, Down syndrome, they've all relatively remained the same. Autism itself has been on the rise around the world.